Ivan Mauger, MBE, born in Christchurch, New Zealand in October 1939, profession speedway rider, 4 times world speedway champion, 3 times world long track champion, captain of the Exeter Falcons, businessman, author and journalist, a champion amongst champions.
Nobody seems to want to go. Come on, lads, get it on the way they go. And it's Mauger who hits the front end. Mauger hits the corner person, trying the outside, the wide outside, but Ivan Mauger's made a colossal first turn. Mauger in front. Mauger after his 4th title. Person chasing hard.
I'm always aiming to win. It doesn't always make me that popular, I don't think, but I don't really see it as any other way. Second place really doesn't impress me very much, and to win, that's everything. I really just want to win as much as I can. I never ever in my younger days thought that I would be satisfied with one World Championship.
Very, very hard, but it doesn't look as though he's going to catch him. He's coming up on the inside now. They're coming on to their last lap after this corner now. Person still cannot close that gap. How tantalising. On the last lap, the world title is only 5 yards between them, and Person's coming on the outside now. And trying very hard, and Mauger's shut the door down the straight, but Person's far from finished. He's going wide. I don't think he's going to make it round there. He's coming back on the line now, but it's Ivan Mauger over the line. The new world champion, Ivan Mauger, and he is absolutely knocked out from himself.
Cheers, babe.
Wasn't always like this. Ivan and I courted very young. We were married. I was 16 and he was 17. We had what everybody would think very small chance at that age of making a go of marriage. However, we left home in New Zealand, travelled to England, where our first child, Julie, was born. We had so much hardships in those days. Well, I don't really like to dwell on it too much, but there was bed sitters. I had to stay home with the baby while Ivan travelled. Wasn't too much fun, but the compensations came later. You can put up with hardships as long as you think that there's something ahead. Ivan was very ambitious those days, as he still is now.
Ivan Mauger truly is a speedway superstar. After 2 decades in the sport, he enjoys the luxuries that it has provided for him. But few would deny him these comforts, having devoted all his adult life to achieving them, and in so doing, giving the sport the credibility it now enjoys. In 1957, he arrived in Britain with his wife, Ray, and young family as a penniless teenager. What he lacked then in material wealth, he made up in a consuming wish to succeed. Few of the many thousands of fans who idolised this slight, unassuming New Zealander will ever appreciate the full sacrifices he and his family have had to make. Speedway, like most other professional sports, has become highly competitive and therefore very expensive. When Mauger began his career, his one underpowered machine and the few spare parts that went with it constituted the major part of his assets. Now, a spacious garage attached to his home in the Manchester stockbroker belt is full of every conceivable replacement part. Nuts, bolts, filters, chains, plugs, and highly tuned engines, tyres, tanks, and racing leathers all adorn the walls and workbenches. These are just some of the more obvious rewards for his acknowledged professionalism and dedication.
My family's really had to suffer a lot because there's been lots of times we've gone to, let's say years ago when we were racing in New Zealand and Australia, there wasn't enough money for me to go to a track 2,000 miles away and take the family in comfort. But I needed the experience on those tracks, and I needed to get a reputation all around in order to be brought back to England. There was lots of things that really I had to do to further my career, and there was never enough money for us to do it in any kind of style. But they all went with me. We often scrimped and scraved and done it, got there. They had to go without, and I had to go without as well. But of course, I was prepared to go without because I had something driving me. I wanted to be World Speedway champion. All I wanted was probably a father and a provider and a husband. But
As Major approaches an important meeting, although he claims that every meeting is important, he becomes tense, uncommunicative and moody, characteristics hardly likely to endear him to the crowd. But it's all part of the driving passion that makes him want to win. This same intenseness is evident in his 2 days a week physical training sessions at Main Road, Manchester, and his occasional mechanical workouts at Bellevue Speedway track. Man and machine being honed to perfection, or as near to it as he can get it.
I train with footballers, and I'm 10 or 12 years older than most of them, and it's hard work to keep up to them. But then a couple of nights later, when I'm racing against speedway riders near my own age or just a little bit younger, it's no problem to outstay them all night. When maybe a few of them wilt halfway through the meeting, I can still keep going. It's a sport that you've got to be really physically fit and mentally alert.
I've got a slick bit of gate to start on here, so I've only got to have about quarter throttle on, otherwise I'll get far too much wheel spin. Let the clutch in very slowly. Not too many rears. That's gripping good. Keep it gripping now. Speed it on now as they come out of the corner. Shut the throttle off a bit to get the grip. On the heavy gate, you just got to wind her up quite a bit and just drop the clutch, not feed it out at all. Now the back wheel is gripping good now. Ease the throttle off of it to get some grip. Take a wider brake. Turn back. Go on the line with the wheels in the line.
It's 4 years now since Major was World Speedway champion. At 37, he's a veteran in a youngster's sport. As each year goes by, more and more people are voicing doubts about whether he can stay at the top. With 7 World Championship titles to his credit and an almost faultless league record, Major's happy to ignore any speculation about his future and rely on his own fox-like intuition, which will warn him when it's time to hang up the leathers and turn to promotion and management.
You know, I'm really not only a speedway rider, I'm quite a student of speedway. All my years before I even was a rider, and in my younger days as a rider, I always observed the older riders, who was on the way out, who was on the way in. I do that now through the training schools as well. I've always got my eye on the 18-year-old, 19-year-old fellas, what they're doing and so on. And I think quite a few with some of the older champions over the years, I've assessed when I think they ought to retire. And I think probably for me, the time for me to retire will be when I realise I can't be world champion anymore. I don't really want to ride speedway anymore. And I really think that if I'm honest with myself, and normally I am with my own performances, I think I'll be the first one to know that. And I don't want to race when I can't be world champion anymore.
As in most other sports, mental alertness is the key to speedway. As the tapes go up for the next heat, valuable points are won or lost before reaching the first bend. Major is determined to get to that bend first.
Well prepared mentally is another big thing. We've got to be very sharp off the start, and not only to win races, you've got to be very sharp to avoid serious accident and even death. I've had a lot to do with Ollie Olsen, he's world champion, one of the most devastating riders in the world, and Peter Collins. I was at Bellevue in Peter's first couple of years when he was getting going, so like I'm about 6 years older than Ollie and 15 or 16 older than Peter, I think. So I think that I'm going to leave Speedway in good hands, and I'd like to be remembered probably in another 10 or 12 years as the person who got Ollie going, and maybe Peter in his early days. I've done a lot to help him when he was a novice. Well, not really a novice, when he just come into the Bellevue team. I spotted him first, I got him into the Bellevue team. A lot of these things are not really direct man-to-man relationship where you tell somebody something. It's something that accumulates over a time. There's been lots of others, Scott Autry at Exeter, and like in my time in Speedway, none of the old fellas ever really brought me on and told me sort of things I had to do. They would maybe tell a gear ratio, but not all the things that you've really got to do to be a champion. And I'd like to be remembered by that. I know in myself that what I've given to Speedway, which I changed the image quite a lot. I think I had a lot to do with that. It was years and years ago. It was looked on as a Hell's Angels, dirty cinder type of sport, and no one was really bothered about that image. That bothered me even before I was a star and before I started winning world championships or anything like that. And that was one of the first things I'd done when I won the world championship. I'm more conscious of being world champion in every other country that I race at other than England now, because the English Speedway fans and the promoters and even my co-riders in England have become accustomed to the fact that every year, I think probably except one or two in the last 20 or 25 years, the world champion has raced in England. So now really, people in England just expect to have the world champion in the British League.
The final race between these two Speedway giants, it's all between them now. Olsen and Major. Can Olsen do it? Can Olsen win this one and take a chance for his second time? All away they go this time, and who's it going to come from the front? And from the outside, it's running number 6. Weisbach has caught Major and Olsen napping it now. Here comes Müller sweeping around the outside. The two West Germans have caught the two big guns, and it's Müller going by Weisbach down this back straight as they go flat out 125 kilometres an hour into this bottom corner. It's Müller. What a surprise. Müller's first, Weisbach second, and it's Major and Olsen. It's a Danik. Kundra there goes flying into the fence. The check goes down to the sprawling heap. Müller in contention. This one's all about Major and Olsen. You can see them there in third and fourth place. There's Olsen in third, Major's in fourth, and this will do. If they can stay like this, it will be enough for Major to win it. He's just got to keep Olsen in his sights as Egon Müller stretches away in second place. It's Weisbach. There's Müller. Egon long gone. Round the bottom corner where we wonder are Olsen and Major. There is Olsen. Major is content to sit back in fourth place. It stands for the back as long as he can keep Olsen in his sights. He can still do enough to win this 76 long track championship. Müller, Weisbach now. Olsen getting up. If Olsen gets up into second place and takes Weisbach, this poor old Kundra, like, looking a bit messy and a bit sorry for himself. Weisbach stretches away in front of Olsen. Remember, Müller's a long way up in front and going more than somewhat. Round this bottom corner, there's enormous. Content to sit back in fourth place. It stands for the back as long as he can keep Olsen in his sights. He can still do enough to win this 76 long track Track Championship. Muller, Weisbach now, Olsen getting up. If Olsen gets up into second place and takes Weisbach, this poor old Kundra, like, looking a bit messy, a bit sorry for himself. Weisbach stretches away in front of Olsen. Remember, Muller's a long way up in front and going more than somewhat. Around this bottom corner, there's an enormous track, beautiful silver sand. There's Muller up front, in second place Weisbach. Olsen trying hard. As they go across the line, he's got enough, his hands up in signal. He's won it. Major takes the title for the third time. Olsen is second. Muller, with that win, has done enough for a third place.
This year I wasn't World Speedway champion, but I was World Long Track champion. Whereas financially, probably I'm much better off with one more World Long Track championship, because it's 4 years since I was World Champion now. But that's not to say that I wouldn't have preferred to be World Speedway Champion. I'd like to get a fifth one.
Here we have the Crystal Glass World Championship trophy, which I'm very, very proud to present, I think, for the second time in 24 hours, to our Ivan Mauger. Well, here we go, Ivan. The microphone is yours.
Well, I'm glad you gave it to me, Wally, because you were shaking a bit then. I thought you were going to drop it. Well, I'm very pleased and very proud to get another World Championship. And I've got World Championships for each of the clubs I've been to, and I'm very pleased to bring one down to Exeter. And just hope we can get some more. Bye.
In 1949 time was my first introduction to Speedway after coming out of the services, and of course it was a fabulous sport, 60,000 crowds at West Ham, you know, an ordinary stadium in London. With the coming of television, Speedway, like every other spectator sport, took a knock, and over the years it dwindled to just 6 tracks in what was then known as the National League. And they carried on for a few years, but it's a sport that will never die. It's a true family sport, and we now have 19 tracks in the Gulf British League and 18 tracks in the new National League, the equivalent of the second division. Riders are coming from all over the world to Speedway. I mean, at Exeter here we have Scott Autry, the top American rider, with Ivan Mauger, who must be the #1 rider in the world ever. I mean, as a promoter here at Exeter, in signing Ivan Mauger, I felt it was a terrific gamble, because the top men, of course, are very expensive. It was a gamble that's paid off, and I'm very proud to have been associated with Ivan, because every club can have a #1, and a #1 can, of course, score 12 points. He's so professional that everything he does is watched and copied. He leaves the starting gate, he looks for his partner. If his partner can get around the first turn, he will always sit behind him. Team riding is what League Speedway is all about. And there's no doubt at all that Ivan Mauger is #1 in the world.
It is only in recent years that Speedway and its bigger brother, long track racing, has become a lucrative sport, and then only for a handful of superstars. At the bottom end of the scale, riders just about cover their costs. For the top stars, big money and endless silver, gold and glass trophies are there for the taking. At the height of a man's career, with World Speedway and long track championships under his belt, and taking into account widespread sponsorship, he could earn more than £80,000 a year. Most of that from appearance money at big invitation meetings around the continent. For the second-string riders, however, who rely almost completely on British League racing, every heat and every point has to be earned the hard way. A few pounds starting money and a few pounds per point. Wreck an engine during the meeting or suffer an injury and they're hundreds of pounds out of pocket. Mauger's empire extends to interests off the track as well. He owns extensive property in New Zealand and writes books and newspaper articles. He lends his name to brand name items and devotes a lot of time to increasing his already considerable sponsorship. The number of hours he spends at his desk in his trophy room now far exceeds the number of hours he's in the saddle. He's a businessman who commutes around the world. His biggest problem is getting back to Exeter in time to ride for his league team on a Monday evening. Centerpiece of Major's glittering trophy room is his golden bike, the gift of an American businessman who promised him he would plate the machine with gold if he won the World Championship 2 years running. Major did, and the American kept his word. Originally valued at £8,000, it could now be worth 4 times that figure. To Ivan Mauger, of course, its worth is impossible to quantify. Major's choice of Stockport as his home base is no accident. Just a few miles from Manchester Airport, he can be airborne within the hour. The height of the season, he will cover over 2,000 miles within a week. Tonight, it's a comparatively short drive over the Pennines to Sheffield. Tomorrow night, he goes to Denmark, the day after to King's Lynn, then over to the continent for the weekend, and back to Exeter on Monday evening. Wednesday down to White City in London, and Friday back over to Czechoslovakia.
Obviously over 20 years I've enjoyed many great moments, but this was one of the greatest moments when I received the MBE and for services to Speedway. And particularly it come from New Zealand. I've been very proud to wear our flag in so many countries over so many years, and to have this recognition, it's really great.
Heat number 5, and away they go this time, and it looks like Major has got across. Yes, he has. Major leads from Crump. Mueller is last, really got sitted up there. Ivan Mauger really is looking as sharp as a spoke from the starts here. Superb gate then from this man. Now it's coming. Major stopped. Major's in trouble. Major's machine has stopped, and this is a tremendous upset.
Yeah, and that's the piece that done it. Carburetor block is worth about £1, and I was really disappointed because before that happened I was gating very good and really confident, thought that I could win it. If this hadn't have broken, Peter Collins and myself would have gone into the last race with 12 points each, and then it really would have been on the last race. I did beat Peter in the last race, but by that time he really only needed a second place. But as it happened, I made the start, so Peter had the job to do. I don't know whether he would have done it or not. To me, that's the World Championship from last year. After a period of time, you get used to certain disappointments. Naturally, I was very disappointed when it broke. By the time I got back to the pits, I thought, well, I've got to look to next year now. This is the first time I've lost a World Championship through engine failure. I think it's probably that I can't remember that anyone else has lost a World Championship through engine failure before. I've lost lots of other minor championships through engine failure, which hasn't bothered me very much. But you know, that's £1's worth. It's probably worth about £60,000, that piece of zinc.
That was 1976, but 12 months later, fortunes changed.
The World Crown is worth something like £100,000 in perks for the next 12 months. We have Ivan Mauger, the old campaigner, bidding for his fifth crown. We have Ole Olsen, who indeed he taught so many of the rudiments of Speedway back 10 years ago at Bellevue. And just to make it a really spicy feast, we have young Michael Lee, the kid from King's Lynn, on 10 points. And if Michael Lee wins this race, he could still be champion of the world. Any one of these 3 riders can win the World Championship. They're coming up under starters' orders. The crowd are on their feet. Here we go. Third time of asking, and this time it's Mauger who makes the start. This time it's Mauger who's gone away from Olsen. Lee is battling around the outside of Olsen, and Lee's moved up into second place. But it looks like it's going to be the galloping Mauger's night. Twice the race has been stopped when he's behind, but now he's in front, and I don't think he's going to make any mistakes at all. Lee's in second place, and really experience is telling for Ivan Mauger. He was behind earlier on. The record of Obi Funded here to present the prizes this evening, and Mauger now is just a little bit over a lap from glory. A night of drama, a night surely of sensations, but what a night for Ivan Mauger. He's over the line into the last lap. He's just got to keep going for another, 380 metres. He looks over his shoulder. He's going to win it. Well, he squeezed through the Intercontinental final. He really had a fair old night, and there he goes over the line. Mauger wins the title for the fifth time. He is second. Olsen's a long way back third. And will we ever have a night like this again in World Speedway? In fact, Leon Olsen now must run off for the runners-up position. Ivan Mauger is triumphant. An enormous crowd in the pits. Just look at that tonight. I know he wanted to win this one so very, very badly. He's had controversy along the way. He's had a lot of luck along the way. But there he goes up in the air. And never mind the controversy, never mind the luck. He must be the happiest man in World Speedway right now.